Today I'm in a county with a vast and windy cave that was once home to some very resourceful residents. Find out where I am in just a breeze. Today, a husband and wife team are planning to escape city life to enjoy an active retirement.
Wow, I wanted space, didn't I?
You did want space. And it turns out that size does matter. So this could be the sticking point.
Yeah, a little bit small.
Today I'm in Derbyshire, and this is the magnificent Peak Cavern, although locals know it by a much cheekier name after the flatulent-sounding noise it makes when the water drains out of the bottom of the cave. That aside, it also has the widest cave mouth in Britain, and until 1915 it was home to our last cave-dwelling community. These troglodytes actually lived in little cottages built here in the mouth of the cave where they made rope in an underground factory. The full extent of this cave system is largely restricted now, but don't worry because there's plenty outside in Derbyshire to catch the eye. Derbyshire is located in the East Midlands and landlocked by 7 other regions, including South Yorkshire, West Yorkshire, Greater Manchester and Cheshire. The region holds more than one record. It's home to the UK's first national park, the Peak District, which contains a magnificent undulating landscape rippling under lush green grass with beautiful, far-stretching views. And the county is also home to the furthest point from the sea in the UK, around 70 miles from the edge of the Wash in Lincolnshire. Villages such as Tissington are the picture of a quintessentially British scene. Smart grey stone buildings abound, with Tissington Hall, a resplendent Jacobean mansion, the most elegant of them all. And Bakewell, the only town actually within the Peak District, is a draw because of its famous Bakewell tarts, with no less than 3 shops claiming to hold the original recipe of the jam and almond dessert. So with its stunning countryside, handsome buildings, not to mention tasty treats, Derbyshire is definitely one of the unsung heroes in Britain's rich landscape. As you can see, Derbyshire is easy on the eye and, to a large extent, easy on the pocket. The average price for a detached house here in the county is £200,000, which is £65,000 less than the national figure. However, if you want to live in one of those beautiful houses in the Peak District with gorgeous views or a lovingly restored agricultural building, then you're going to have to dig a lot deeper into those pockets. So let's meet today's buyers and find out if they're looking for that sort of property. Retired teachers Cheryl and Rick from Leicester have lived in their 4-bed detached house for 16 years. But when their eyes met across the playground 37 years ago, it wasn't exactly love at first sight.
Rick joined the staff as a PE teacher as well. I can't say it was instant attraction.
I can't understand why not.
But after a while, he's the kind of guy that tends to grow on you, so he did. And so we've been married now 24 years, 25th anniversary next year, so I'm hoping he's going to take me somewhere really nice.
We'll see what the finances say on that one.
With a grown-up daughter of 24 and work ties to Leicester no longer, Cheryl and Rick have decided to put the wheels in motion for a big life change.
We feel now it is the time where we want to have that little bit more peace and quiet, have that rural aspect, go out and enjoy ourselves, and get away from the city, big city, really.
I think the fear is if you don't do it now, then we're never going to do it.
Probably not.
The next move could be a nursing home, so...
Oh, I hope not. Oh.
And they've decided that it's Derbyshire to the northwest of Leicester where they want to settle.
We visited Derbyshire several times, and the countryside is just stunning, and it's what we really want now, isn't it? Just to have that on your doorstep and not having to drive out to meet it, so to speak.
This active couple are looking forward to spending their newfound leisure time pursuing the hobbies they love in their new surroundings.
When we move, then I would like to do a lot more cycling. Cycling in Derbyshire would be terrific.
In my spare time, I do like to paint and draw. What I'd like to do now is to develop it a lot further and just start enjoying doing it, you know, going into the countryside, just getting my easel out on my own and just paint.
I just feel that moving into the country would be just a great advantage.
Yeah,
A
definitely.
bit away from the city, a bit of peace and quiet, being able to take up rural pursuits.
And spend more.
And spend more time with my wife. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And as long as they're not too far from civilization, Cheryl will be happy.
The thought of Cheryl not being able to go shopping would be horrendous, really. So, yeah, we're gonna have some. We don't want to be isolated. Let's put it that way.
Wherever it is they choose to lay down roots, both Cheryl and Rick are ready to up sticks and begin their new country life. They've asked us to concentrate our search for their new home in the southern half of the county, to allow easy access to friends and family still in Leicester, and Cheryl's father in London. And before we commence our house hunt, I'm meeting Cheryl and Rick in the county to discover the finer details of their property wish list. Welcome to Derbyshire.
Thank you.
I mean, you know it quite well. It's not a million miles from where you live.
No, but it's far enough.
So what are you planning for your retirement home? What's the spec of it?
Well, we want a detached property. We don't want to be isolated, but we don't really want to be overlooked either.
Okay.
We would like some rural aspects.
So views?
Yes, some views.
And inside?
4 bedrooms, or possibly 3 bedrooms and a study. At present, we've got quite a large dining room, which we don't use very often.
No.
So it would make sense, really, to have perhaps a dining kitchen.
Maybe a conservatory attached to the end would be lovely. I love
Yes, no, I want the wish list. I want everything that you're dreaming of. That would be great.
And an ensuite, because I've never had an ensuite, and I really would like that. We've got my daughter to consider as well, because she's actually going to be part of the move. So I think really if we can just try and accommodate her a little bit, because she, you know, she's 24. I don't think she's going to be there that long, but if she had her own separate ensuite, well, that would be perfect. But, you know, we know we have to compromise at some point. So, you know, if we can get the majority of what we want. Other than that...
A garden that's got some colour in it will be absolutely fine. A patio that's got some colour in it will be OK.
We're getting smaller and smaller.
Well, as long as we've got somewhere to sit
Right.
and have a coffee and a drink of wine.
Yes, we do
will be
like to sit
absolutely-
outside.
Will be lovely.
So.
And the style of the property, what sort of style would you like?
Barn conversions are nice, right, sort of open, contemporary feel. I don't mind the outside being old as long as the inside's a bit more...
Spacious.
Yes.
A bit more open plan
Yeah.
than what we've got at present, really.
And what about location? Because I know you're a very keen shopper.
Oh, I love it. I have got to have shops somewhere.
You do know that the countryside doesn't have loads of shops.
I just want to be near some amenities, you know, a nice sort of village setting. So it doesn't have to be, you know, major shops or anything like that.
But you don't want to be out in the sticks?
No. We feel it's time now to get more involved in the community, and also with the settings, the rural settings that are in Derbyshire, would encourage me to do a bit more of my painting.
What about price? Remind me how much money we've got to play with.
Well, we're looking, I would say, 450,000.
Great, well, that's a good, healthy budget. Are you excited about this move?
It's stressful.
It is stressful.
It is stressful. We know the kind of things we'd like, but finding it is what we're really worried about. So that's really why we're asking for this support.
Which is why we're
So,
here.
Exactly.
That's right.
We're here to help. Well, we found
Exactly.
3 lovely properties. So we go and see them?
Oh, please. Thank
Follow
you.
me. Cheryl and Rick have a good budget to spend in Derbyshire, but they do have quite a list of requirements. They'd love a barn conversion with 4 bedrooms, or at least 3 plus a study, so they've got room for not only visitors, but their daughter Victoria, who's making the move with them. They're after a large kitchen diner, as this will become the heart of their home, and Cheryl's pinning her hopes on a conservatory as well. And although they'd like a pretty garden, they don't want something so big it's unmanageable. Plus, they'd rather not cover too many miles to get to the shops, so that Cheryl can keep her passion for shopping alive. To make the transition to country life as smooth as possible, we've searched out 3 properties for Cheryl and Rick that all offer them something unique. And once they've had a good look round each one, they'll discover its cost. The last visit will be to the mystery house, which won't be at all what they're expecting, but might just be what they've been waiting for. We begin our journey round Derbyshire towards the centre of the county in the tiny village of Wheatcroft, around 3.5 miles from the larger village of Cryche. Cryche, with its distinctive stone houses, is a friendly community overlooked by the Memorial Tower, standing high on Cryche Hill, commemorating those who fell in the wars. One of the village's main attractions is the Tramway Village and Museum, which steps back in time, showcasing buildings and trams from a bygone era. And the village pubs, shops and eateries mean Cheryl and Rick are within arm's reach of retail therapy. Around a 10-minute drive, and we're on the outskirts of Wheatcroft at our first property, one of 4 in this attractive complex of conversions.
Wow.
Wow. That is impressive.
Look at the view.
Absolutely
Unbelievable.
terrific. Absolutely terrific.
You wanted aspects.
We did want to ask that.
We've got aspects, haven't we?
As you can see, it's not a detached property,
No.
but it is a barn conversion. There's only 10 minutes to 2 big towns where you can do shopping.
Yes. Thank you.
What are your first impressions of the location and the property?
Beautiful. Lovely. I love the stonework. I'm not sure about the not being detached, but, you know, that's something we can, maybe when we go inside, see how it works.
Let's walk inside.
Thank you. Can't wait.
This handsome stone barn began life as a cowshed and was converted in 2003. It successfully marries its old-style charm with a top-notch, high-spec interior, with little clue to its former use. Mind the step.
All right.
And this is the main living space.
Lovely beams. It's got real character to the room.
Completely new engineered oak floor and the big log burner.
That's fantastic. It's a log burner. We need a reasonably sized lounge where we can relax, and I think this
And bring friends in.
this is
But,
ideal. Really, in
yeah,
terms of the
this will
size.
do for what we need, definitely, size-wise.
We may just be at the beginning of our voyage around Derbyshire, but Cheryl and Rick are making all the right noises. And I hope they continue as we head to the most important room in the house to them, the kitchen diner.
Right.
That was okay. What's that about?
Yeah, it's smaller than I'd hoped for.
I was wondering what your checkers were about.
But it's very tasteful.
Tell me your fantasy, because clearly this is not quite matching up to it.
I suppose I wanted the eating area slightly more away from the preparation area. It is homely, though, isn't it? Don't you think?
I think it's got a real warmth about the house. Real warmth.
Also on the ground floor is a study and a cloakroom. But does upstairs provide the all-important ensuite Cheryl and Rick have never had? Well, there's a family bathroom and 2 single bedrooms, but also a double room with an ensuite. Plus the main bedroom, which is full of character and where we're headed next. This is the master bedroom.
Is that big enough?
Well, there is only 2 of us, after all, but it is smaller.
Well, hold your horses, because you've got through there you've got an ensuite shower room.
The ensuite, definitely, that is definitely a plus.
That looks nice.
And through here you've got a walk-in wardrobe.
Ah.
I have got
We
a
need-
lot to accommodate.
Yes, you have.
But I love that little window at the top
Oh, I
there.
didn't see that.
Sweet, isn't it?
It's gorgeous.
Ah, yes.
But let's poke our heads outside in the courtyard.
OK,
Hang up.
thank you.
The property has a pretty private garden to the front, with a raised, decked area offering a spectacular view. And to the back is a designated area in the U-shaped courtyard. And your boundary is this sort of diagonal line, so it's a sort
Okay,
of
to
triangular
there.
garden.
Right.
Oh, I
It's
see.
only half of this sort of upper terrace and half of that lower one.
You do lose a little bit of privacy there, don't you?
You do, don't you, really?
Don't
Yeah,
you?
so basically your garden is out the front.
But again, the property looks beautiful from this side, as from the front.
So what do you think it's on the market for?
I think because of its presentation, because it's beautiful, but the fact it's not detached, I'm going to go for 425.
45?
Because it's a barn conversion, because of its location, I think it's going to be the top end of our budget, so I think it's going to be 440.
Well, you are right. It is actually right at the top end of your budget. It's on at 449,950.
449. OK.
Because the benefit of that is because it's so well decorated, that you'd have actually nothing to do to it. You could just walk straight in there, really.
Which is what we want, isn't it?
I'm going to ask you to walk straight in now, so you can explore those bedrooms upstairs.
OK, thank
Get
you.
the full lay of the land, and I'll see you at the front.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
This converted barn is on the market just a whisker under Cheryl and Rick's budget. But as Rick says, they could move in and not lift a finger. It may not be detached, but it is the barn they asked for, and it's beautifully decorated inside. The kitchen diner might not be quite as spacious as they'd like, but there are the 4 bedrooms they wanted, meaning plenty of room for daughter Victoria. And there's also a study. Plus, the outlook from the front garden offers views that money just can't buy.
Well, this would do brilliantly for Victoria. Look, ensuite. That would look nice, wouldn't it?
Lovely
Fit her
ensuite.
purpose.
Yeah. When I first walked into this house, I thought, wow, this is impressive. And it's got a lovely aspect, both front and back. But as you get to the nitty-gritty and you look at the rooms and look at the space, then perhaps there are too many compromises that we're going to have to make to live here.
When I first approached the house, I was actually quite taken aback by the surroundings. I felt very happy. Having walked through the front door, those feelings changed slightly. I felt a little bit more sort of enclosed. I think this is too small.
The master bedroom with a lovely ensuite would be ideal for us. And then we've got a second bedroom for Victoria, but the other 2 rooms are very small. So in terms of visitors coming, I'm not sure where they would go. Because you certainly don't have space for a double bed in either of those rooms.
I was wondering whether this actually front garden was about the right size for you, Richard.
I think it's big enough, Alistair, really. I don't want a massive guy, but as long as we've got somewhere we can have a sit and have a drink and just relax.
And enjoy the sunshine.
Good to bear in mind.
Yeah, thank
OK, let's
you.
press on. Cheryl and Rick love days out visiting stately homes. And in the heart of Derbyshire's Peak District, close to the town of Bakewell, one of the country's finest examples is on offer. With parts of the historic house dating back to the 12th century, Haddon Hall, which sits in around 3,000 acres of land and overlooks the River Wye, has been described as the most perfect house to survive from the Middle Ages. We've arranged for our pair to meet head steward Joe Walker in the Long Gallery to learn about the history and treasures hidden behind the house's majestic walls.
This is actually our newest room, but I think it really is the prettiest.
Absolutely beautiful.
When was it built?
This wasn't built till about 1600.
Since the 14th century, only 2 families have called Haddon Hall home. The Vernon family, followed by the current family, the Manners, who still live here today and have owned the grand building since the 1560s.
And were there any symbols associated with the families who lived here at all?
There were, all families in these great houses had their coats of arms and things. Actually, if you look round here, you can see the coat of arms of the Vernons and of the Manners family. This is the Vernon one with the boar's head here.
Oh, I see.
And the Manners family has the peacock.
So how many staff do you have keeping this place together?
There are not many full-time staff, but we do have about 30 seasonal staff who come in the summer to look after our visitors. It's a wonderful job if you're up for it.
I'm tempted.
And with over 70 rooms here, there's a lot of upkeep for Joe and the team inside the house too. Every detail needs to be cared for, including the beautiful, intricate tapestries on show here. And art enthusiast Cheryl is keen to take a look. Joe's showing them a tapestry hanging on the landing, which was made in the 1620s.
This is one of a set of 5 that depict the 5 senses. What do you think this one is?
I think taste.
No, if you have a look what the lady in the centre is doing. One hand is holding a dove or a pigeon, and the other hand is resting on the carapace of a turtle, so she's touching something soft and something hard. So she's touch, yes.
This tapestry, woven with gold thread, is just a few years short of 500 years old and was made for King Charles I. After his execution, the owners of this great home bought it to add to their collection. It's extremely fragile, and Joe is going to show Cheryl and Rick what goes into preserving fine works of art such as this.
It's not really ripping, it's Velcro. Just very gently. The top there.
It's a bit fragile, I'm quite worried.
It's not as fragile as it looks, because although it is fragile, it's not heavy. And it's the weight that damages these more than anything else. We're going to just lay it out as flat as we can.
So how would you normally clean something like this, Joe?
With a vacuum cleaner.
All right, so there's no special technique.
So if we fold this back then, and here's my vacuum cleaner, and I put a piece of gauze over it with a wire.
Does that give protection?
It does, but it also means that I can see if any fibres are coming off. And by holding this at an angle, again, I'm reducing the suction.
So you have to be taught how to do this?
You do, yes. I went on a course.
Never
For
in this
a week.
world.
It was wonderful. And to hold this at an angle and just very, very carefully go over. Excellent. OK, let's see how we've done. You can see that that's the dirt that's come off just that small amount of tapestry. But as you can also see, we have no coloured fibre on it, so
it's not thread, is it? It's just
no,
dirt.
it's dust. Yeah. Can you imagine how long it takes to do the whole thing?
So you would
Because
have to work your way down
you really
the whole
do.
tapestry.
Yeah. You really do have to do it that slowly.
Oh, my goodness.
But if a job's worth doing, it's worth doing well. And that includes searching for the perfect home. For our second property, we're travelling 40 minutes southwest, nudging just into Staffordshire and the village of Stanton. 5.5 miles away, back in Derbyshire, is the charming market town of Ashbourne. Ashbourne boasts over 200 listed buildings, plus plenty of quaint shops, places to eat, and welcoming pubs, including the Green Man, where Queen Victoria once stayed. And if Cheryl and Rick want to make the most of the local scenery, the Tissington Trail just outside Ashbourne follows an old railway line and is ideal for walkers or cyclists. Just over a 10-minute drive, and we're on the edge of Stanton, on the doorstep of the Peak District National Park, where we find our second property, this beautiful converted barn. So don't bite my head off, but this is another attached property.
Right, OK.
But take a deep breath because I think you're going to like this.
OK.
It's a much simpler layout. So there's only two properties. This one, yours,
Oh, right.
and this one here.
OK.
So this is the communal space at the front, and you have a private garden at the back.
OK, it's really tidy.
I think it looks very, very welcoming.
It does, actually, and I'm just noticing the colour of the doors. That's your colour.
I like those colours. I like
So
them.
maybe that's a sign.
Exciting to see what it looks like
It is,
inside.
actually.
Really.
I get a bit of feel on this one.
A better feel.
Yes, I think so.
This barn, built from limestone with a smart roof of Staffordshire blue tiles, was originally an outbuilding belonging to a farm dating back to the 1870s. It was part of the Earl of Shrewsbury's estate. Converted 16 years ago, it's now a spacious family home. Step in to your farmhouse kitchen.
Oh, that's lovely.
Oh,
Now that's what I call a dining kitchen.
that is lovely, isn't it?
And the units, they are very similar to the ones we've got at home, aren't they? Which we chose ourselves. So
Yeah.
how perfect is that?
Yeah.
So you've got a big smile on your face this
Well,
time.
it's more of what I had in mind, yes. I'm quite excited now to see the rest of it.
Well, let's continue the tour in the living room. Come with
Thank
me.
you. Wow, I wanted space, didn't I?
You did want space.
Yes.
Yeah, it's more in keeping with what I had in mind, yeah.
And then at the back there, you've got another sort of separate dining space,
That's right, you have.
which has double doors looking out into the garden.
Gosh, I wouldn't have guessed this from the outside.
Next to the L-shaped living room dining area is a large family bathroom, and next to that is a bright bedroom. Then across a hallway currently in use as a study is the master bedroom.
Again, we've got quite a lot of space.
Good size.
Plenty of fitted wardrobes, which is
What we wanted, really. Well, what you wanted for your clothes.
Your ensuite here.
oh, good.
Nice with a bathtub.
Yeah, this is nice, very nice. It's a good size.
It is a good size.
I do like the little features there, and definitely the ensuite.
Above this section of the ground floor are two further bedrooms in the eaves, bringing the total number of bedrooms to 4. And moving outside, I want to show our buyers the rather substantial grounds and their wonderful views. This is a bit more of a garden.
Just a little bit.
This is a garden and a half, Alistair.
wow.
It's great, isn't it?
It's huge.
It is huge.
Absolutely huge.
So you've got the lovely dry stone wall, which takes you all the way around here, the formal garden. Around that pine tree, you've got a lovely veg patch with a chicken run.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Is that going to be
It'll
big enough?
That'll be different, won't it?
I think this is plenty big enough, don't you?
Yes.
It's whether
Yeah.
Richard thinks he can maintain it, because he does all
I
that.
think my cycle will have to take a back seat if I'm going to be in this garden.
Well, this is not all of it, because through this gate, you've got an acre paddock.
Never in this world.
Wow. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I think it's got a lot going for it, let's put it that way.
So what do you think is on the market for this very splendid barn conversion?
Well, I think this is well over our budget. I'm going to go for 470.
I think it's going to be over our budget, but not quite as much as that. I think it's going to be 455.
Well, it is over your budget. It's actually on at £475,000.
Right.
OK.
But it has been on since last year, and the vendor is willing to negotiate.
Yeah, OK. There's something for us to think
Mull over.
ahead.
Mull over.
Yeah, well, why don't you go back and mull a little,
OK, thank
and
you.
I'll catch you at the front.
All right, thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
This converted barn is £25,000 over Cheryl and Rick's budget. But with a vendor happy to consider offers, there's every chance they could snap it up for the sum they've got. It may not be detached, but inside it's got all the room they were hoping for. The fabulous kitchen diner is spot on for Cheryl, and there are enough bedrooms to accommodate daughter Victoria plus visiting guests. The garden may be rather bigger than they were imagining, but as retirees they'll have plenty of time to potter in the grounds and enjoy the space.
This is nice, Rick,
Yeah,
isn't it?
nice landing.
Oh, it's another bedroom.
This is really quirky.
Isn't it just?
But is it going to be big enough for friends
What about Victoria?
or Victoria?
The fact that this house is an attached property, you wouldn't know it actually being in it, so I don't know that that's going to be a major problem anymore.
Overall, it's an impressive property. The garden is, well, almost to die for, really. Although I'm slightly concerned about the amount of extra garden that goes with it. And for some reason, it doesn't quite gel. Although it's a lovely property, it doesn't quite do it for me.
I could see myself living here, but I can't see myself living here. I can because it has got so much going for it. It's got the space internally, downstairs, but not upstairs.
I love it when people chuckle when they come out of the house. That's great.
Well, there's a lot to think about, isn't there?
There
in
is,
there?
yes.
Good, good. Well, it's the last one today, so let's have a little rest for tomorrow.
Thank you.
It's the second day of our Derbyshire property hunt, combing the countryside for a converted barn for Cheryl and Rick from Leicester to retire to. They've got a substantial £450,000 to play with, but are hoping for a character property with a large kitchen diner, which doesn't come cheap. Coming up, I'll be going completely off track with our mystery house.
Well, I was not expecting this, would you?
No.
I can't get over the space upstairs.
And I'll be unearthing a unique gem in the very bones of Derbyshire. Derbyshire is quite beautiful, although much to Cheryl and Richard's disappointment, it's also quite expensive. We showed them 2 barn conversions yesterday to give them that beautiful contemporary interior space, but both of them were right up the pain threshold of their budget. So today for the Mystery House, we are challenging them a little by giving them traditional, but detached. For our final visit, we're travelling just over 22 miles northeast to the village of Ashover. The pretty village in the valley of the River Amber is home to good pubs, meaning it wouldn't take long to get to know the locals and become part of the community. And if Cheryl and Rick move here and decide to frequent the Black Swan, they might get a glimpse of the ghost of the Laughing Cavalier, who is said to haunt the pub. On the edge of the village is our third and final property, a cottage built from local sandstone with a slate roof dating back to 1830. Mystery house! And as you can see, it is detached.
I know, I'm so pleased, thank you. I just think it's beautiful and the setting is ideal. I mean, you've got all this, the brook.
I think the outlook is terrific, really. Beautiful looking property.
Did you notice what's at the side there?
A conservatory, yes.
Our mystery house may not be the barn conversion Cheryl and Rick have asked for, but it is the first detached home we've been able to show them for their budget, and it's full of period charm. So if they can wipe the slate clean of their expectations, I think they could be pleasantly surprised. The front porch leads straight into the hallway cum dining room, and off that is a living area which retains plenty of original character.
Well, it's cosy, isn't it? It's probably smaller than I initially thought about having, but actually it's got quite a nice feel in it.
Good.
It's got a warm feeling, hasn't it?
Well, this is the mystery house. This is the challenge, because it's not what you asked for. It's not big and contemporary and spacious. It's small and character and cosy.
It's definitely food for thought. Good start.
A good start indeed. And I have a feeling that things are only going to get better as we move next door into the beautiful light-filled conservatory.
Whoa.
A conservatory, just what I wanted.
I know.
Wow, this is just a bonus, this.
Cheryl also wanted a big kitchen diner, but this is the mystery house, so our duo expect to be a little challenged. So this could be the sticking point.
Yeah, a little bit small.
But, although this is your kitchen work area, if you poke your head through there, there's quite an extensive utility room.
Oh, wow. It's big, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a large area.
And there's a downstairs bathroom at the other side.
Actually, that is quite big.
Yeah.
I mean, they've done some nice touches to it, and I love the floor.
Bear it in mind. Put it into the pot and stir it around.
I'm going to have to.
There's no doubt this period cottage is bursting with personality, which continues upstairs where there are 4 bright bedrooms, a double to the front and the 2 at the back of the house built into the sloping land outside. Back at the front is an attractive family bathroom with the master next door. Step inside.
I can't get over the size of this.
They're big, aren't they?
They are big.
It's a sort of strange house because actually upstairs almost feels bigger than downstairs. And it's brighter because of the geography of the house with the hill behind it.
And if you open
Very
that
nice.
window there, I'm sure you'd hear the sound of the brook, wouldn't you?
You certainly would. We've got only an upstairs bathroom, so no ensuite, sadly.
Although I'm disappointed because it's something I really wanted. I'd almost prepared myself for the fact I wouldn't be here for some reason, but that's just turning even more things round in my mind now. I'm quite curious to see what lies beyond there.
You mean the garden?
Yeah.
Then let your curiosity lead the way. Outside the garden follows the lie of the land, and there's plenty of it. As you can see, it's a sort of quite interesting terrace garden. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 terraces, and over there you've got a rather nice eating area and some beds as you go down for vegetables, and then a herb garden and a little area there to sit and enjoy the sun.
I just think it's very tranquil.
Well, you could perhaps take responsibility for 1 or 2 of the tiers.
I could utilise some of this for painting as well, definitely.
OK.
And because there's loads of different textures and things out here, and we could use that.
So how much do you think it's on the market for?
Well, I think it's going to be around about top end of our budget. I think it's going to be 455.
Cheryl?
I'm going to go over that. I just think the location with the brook, the space. Oh, I'm going to say it anyway, 480.
Well, we wouldn't be that unkind, but it is actually on the market for £460,000.
OK.
And again, there's
Right.
room for manoeuvre there as well.
Well, that surprised me, honestly, but OK.
Yeah.
So why don't you go inside and have a explore, and then I'll
Thank
meet
you.
you at the front.
OK, thank you.
This beautiful 19th century detached stone cottage might be £10,000 over budget, but with a little negotiation, I'd like to think that Cheryl and Rick could get it for a price more in keeping with their cash. And although it's not a converted barn, in our mystery house, every room has something to offer. The kitchen may be on the small side, but with the utility room next door, it could definitely work for them, and the bedrooms are all a good size. And the unusual garden could give both Rick and Cheryl their own project to work on.
Well, I was not expecting this, would you?
No.
I can't get over the space upstairs. Oh, this is nice. Nice and big, isn't it? And airy.
And of course, you've got access to the garden there.
I know, I can't quite get my head around the different sort of levels, but I think that's quite nice and quirky.
The upstairs
really.
seems bigger than the downstairs, isn't it?
Oh, the mystery house has really thrown a spanner in the works here. I'm all over the place with this one. I mean, on arriving to it, I must admit, it is so idyllic. I mean, the brook, the space, the country. Oh, I just thought, I'm in love. I'm in love with this.
It is a beautiful house. I can see our friends and relatives coming here and really being wowed by it. It has got something about it, there's no doubt about that. It's got a warm feeling about it. And it's got a family feeling about it as well. We just need to really have a rethink, really, completely on what we were going to look at originally.
I wanted a lot of space. I don't get the same space in here. But actually, it's got so much warmth and character, and you sort of fall in love with it as you're walking around. We need to sit down and say, well, look, you know, could this be a possibility now?
So the mystery house all done?
Yes, we've seen it, I think, several times through now, haven't we?
More food for thought.
Yeah.
And that's all the houses, so let's go find somewhere to discuss them.
Perfect.
Not only home to spectacular countryside, Castleton in the Peak District in Derbyshire is also proud to have a rare and unique stone in its very core. Blue John stone was first discovered in 1750, and today only 2 local sites continue to mine it. One is owned by Vicky Turner, who is the 3rd generation of her family to work here in Treak Cliff Cavern.
Nice to see you.
How do you do?
Vicky, it's been a long time since my geology lessons at school, so I've no idea what Blue John is. Can you enlighten me?
Blue John is a very rare form of a very common mineral, which is fluorite or fluorspar. Formed about 240 million years ago, and in Treak Cliff, the banding and the different colours that it has, it makes it totally unlike any other fluorite anywhere else in the world.
So is it only available in Derbyshire?
Yes.
It's Gary Ridley's job to find a Blue John vein amongst the layers in the limestone rocks that have taken millions of years to crystallise.
I'll give you that.
Brilliant.
Go this way.
Oh, that's quite a hole you got there.
Yeah.
Is this what you've been working on already?
Yeah, we came in here last winter, and dug this out. You can see we've just been going round and getting wider and wider.
So that bit there looks like quite a big crystal. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, a good slab. You can get a good slab out.
How big's the biggest piece that you found?
Probably the biggest one in recent years that we found weighed about 14 stone, so it's like...
14 stone?
It's like carrying a man
Person.
out. Yeah.
Heavy, man.
Yeah.
I can see the Blue John there, but how do you actually free that out of its surroundings?
What we do, we drill holes above and below the vein, and then we put wooden pegs into the holes, and then we hammer chisels into the wooden pegs, and that hopefully cracks the limestone so that we get a nice, good-sized piece.
Well, I understand the theory now, but I want to see it in action. And I must say, it feels very exciting to be at the coalface of the only place on the planet to be lucky enough to still be extracting this unique stone.
Right, I've started that off for you, so it's your turn now.
My turn? OK. Well, here it goes.
Just press that trigger.
It was in Victorian times that this stone was a la mode and began to be crafted into trinkets and accessories. But it takes some hard work to turn what looks like a rather dull lump here in the mine into something worth adorning yourself with.
Hello, Pete.
Pete Sharp has been a craftsman in the workshop here for 11 years.
Is that a piece of Blue John?
Yes, this is a nice big chunk of Blue John stone that's just come out of the cave, and we're just getting a nice shape going on there, and eventually it should end up in a nice bowl that we can present and sell in the shop. Normally it comes out with a load of clay wrapped around it, and we've got a nice big chunk over on the side here, and we'll just give that a good old wash. Then we'll put it into our storage racks down near the winch house there, probably for about, say, a month or two.
A month?
About a month or two, yeah. It just allows the stone to slowly dry out, and then it'll look something similar to this. As you can feel that now, it's nice and dry.
So that's washed and dried?
That's all washed and dried. It's all nice and clean, ready to go.
The stone usually has cubic crystals running through it, which are hidden until it's held up to the light.
There's nice zigzags, and the patterns and shapes there. Look.
When the stone's been allowed to dry naturally, it's then warmed up in a drying oven at 80 degrees centigrade for a week to get the last drops of moisture out before it's covered in clear resin to seal it, ready to be turned into objects like these striking bowls.
These are the ones you're holding now in your hands. The one on the left-hand side is the Cliff Blue vein, That's where you've been with Gary doing the mining. That's pretty much where that came from. And then this is the miller's vein. You've got some really nice colours going on there, the iron oxide. And that gives it more the yellowy colours.
Peter, it amazes me that these things come just from this one hill. That's the thing that kind of boggles my brain a bit.
That's it, yeah. I mean, we've got the 14 veins, and we've only got the 2, just found in this one part of the hillside in the entire world, if you like.
And a special reason to come to Derbyshire.
Yeah.
I have to confess, I was on tenterhooks about whether Cheryl would hate that kitchen in the Mystery House because it was so small. But in fact, I think she loved the whole property. It'd be interesting to see whether Richard was equally enamoured. I'm going to meet them. How's it left you? What are you feeling at the end of the week?
Muddled. Really confused.
I think it's just given us an insight into what we could have that we hadn't actually thought about. You know, we came with a preconceived idea of what we wanted, and actually what the whole process has done is actually turned that on its head and said, well, actually, there are other options that we hadn't considered, and maybe some of the things that we initially wanted aren't necessarily that important.
I get the impression that House 1 and 2 are sort of out of the running. Is that true?
There were lovely features in both, but
Yes,
probably not quite for us.
So it's the Mystery House. That's the contender,
I
is
think
it?
that's the favourite at present.
Well, I think when I stood outside that house with all those views and everything else, I just think the country, oh yeah. Because to me, you need to be happy on where you are, and I think the outlook on the mystery property was just idyllic.
You wanted the conservatory, which you'd got in the Mystery House, hadn't
Yeah,
you, really?
lovely.
You wanted an ensuite, which we didn't have, but I think it's got a lot going for it that we just need to have another look at.
I think we need to convince ourselves that this would work, because it is so different from what we planned. And I think a second viewing with our daughter, because another pair of eyes as well, to look at things differently, to give us an honest opinion. I want to go round the village again. I want to look and see how long it takes us to get to various places. I just want to get a better feel for it, spend a bit longer maybe in the area to say, actually, yeah.
Well, it's a big financial commitment, but it's a massive move for us as well anyway. So if we are going to put an offer in, then we want to make sure it's the right house for us, really.
Well, I hope it all happens. It's been lovely showing you around.
It's been a marvellous experience. Thank you very much.
Our pleasure. It's a funny thing here on Escape. Sometimes we're wedded to the idea that we have to find people their perfect house and they're put in an offer and kaboom, we'll all be happy. But sometimes I think it's also valid when we kind of throw everybody's expectations up in the air and watch them land back on the table in perhaps a more realistic constellation. And I think that's probably what we managed with the lovely Cheryl and Richard. Anyway, it's always beautiful looking at the lovely houses in this gorgeous country of ours. So make sure you join us next time for more Escape to the Country. Cheryl and Rick didn't revisit the Mystery House as they felt the size of the kitchen was too much of a compromise for them. They've since decided to stay closer to family and friends and have had an offer accepted on a house in Leicester. If you would like to escape to the country in Northern Ireland, Scotland, England or Wales and would like our help, please apply online at bbc.co.uk/be on a show.